Go live. Here we are. All right. Hello, Nadezda. It's time again to talk about coaching competencies. Today on our program, we want to dive into the competencies of team coaching. And that's quite interesting because we rarely speak about team coaching individually. We very often hear coaching as a very generic term, but obviously there are a lot of different flavors. But first of all, for those who didn't see our first session and who might not yet know you, Nadezda, maybe a few words about yourself, a short introduction about who you are, what you do, and how you relate to the notion of coaching.
Hi, Mike. Thank you for the question. I hope there are not so many people who saw the first episode, because whenever anyone asks to define myself, it will be different answers in any point of time. So I'm happy to be an individual coach and team coach according to the ICF standards. So I just recently finished a training to the newest team coaching competence released by the ICF in the beginning of this year. And yeah, so I started also first touch with my agile journey. It was in 2014 when I first time participated the planning, didn't know what it is. It was funny, but yeah, I fell in love with the agile methodologies. And now I'm happy to be a part of board in the ICF Austria, International Coaching Federation's Austrian chapter. And yeah, immediately I need to confirm everything what I will be talking now. It's just my view, and this is just my understanding on the ICF core competence. Whenever we are coming to the coaching, this is also something which I will also always answer a bit differently in the point of the time. But basically, this is not just talking, but this is a talking with specific goal. And the goal is defined by the client who is coming to you. And specifically, so if we are talking about the team, then here the goal is about what is the goal of the team as it would be a single person in front of you. And this is okay.
Yeah, that's already bringing us to the topic. So, I mean, let's start first of all. Why do you think? And yeah, by the way, your personal opinions. I will not name the company, but you work in a large corporate, right? In a large bank, so you have a lot of experience with this tension, probably between what people thrive for, what could be possible, and at the same time, what is sometimes a little bit more challenging when there are different directions, different cultures, specifically in a large distributed organization. I can imagine it's even more interesting, but also more challenging to come to, let's say, improvements. But let's get back to the topic, to the notion of team coaching. Why is coaching actually a thing for teams, or how is it a thing for teams? Different maybe to individuals.
First of all, you need to start what is the team. And here I'm coming to the another body who is MCC, David Clutterbuck. I will not start to coach a team if it is not a team. And this is a question back. What is the team then?
Yeah, and that's a good question. I mean, I'm immediately, we're playing ping pong here, immediately, throwing the ball back over the net, but happy to explore the topic a little bit. But what do you think? What, in your experience or in your aspiration, how do you see teams?
Look, the team, first of all, is not just a group of people who need to work together. What is usually happening in such kind of transformation, when we just take the existing department and we split up and say this is now a team. But this is rather the group of people who has the shared goal, who could not reach this goal without the team, and who trust each other. And I think this is coming also pretty much with the agile concept. And in this sense, so the team coaching starting with the checking, is the team is really team? Do we have a shared goal? Do we really understand this goal? And do we have this trust enough in order that the conversation could happen? Because the team coach, this is someone who could come and ask some uncomfortable maybe questions, who will bring up the elephant on the table and name it. But this is up to the team to decide what you would like to do with the elephant. So This is also quite a difference between the modalities. So depending on what you want now as a team, you could choose between different modalities. Would you like to have a team building? Would you like to have a consultancy? Would you like to have training? Would you like to have a facilitation? What you would like to have, or you would like to have a coaching?
Now, that's an interesting catch-22 you're offering now, because as you already basically pointed to, probably a lot of organizations will have hundreds of teams at least written in their org chart. And we know it, it's a box, it's a name, usually as a team lead or whatever, it's somehow organized. And maybe there is even let's say, a signpost in front of their room which says Team ABC. But what you just mentioned before, they have a common goal, they have maybe even a mission, vision, and all these things. But specifically, they rely on each other and they have this boundary. Bond, not boundary. Boundary and bond, right? It's actually both. Would they actually qualify as a typical team? Maybe they don't know. Now comes the trick. It depends on what they want, what makes sense for the coaching. But if they don't know they're a team, how would you see this catch-22 playing out? I mean, I can't go in there and just say, hey, guys, I've kept observing you for 10 minutes here. I think you don't look like a team, as it's saying at the door. I'm going to coach you now. So I'm just opening this up to make it a little bit more fluid and professional looking. So what would you think about that? Where do you start? What's needed? What's helpful?
So first of all, you could not start coaching if the person or team doesn't want to be coached. So this is not like this. It's not like someone could hire you and say like, yeah, look, this is the problem with they, so could you please just fix it? It's not working like this. And if the team will realize what the coaching is, and this is the first of the competence of the coaching and team coaching, to clarify what the coaching is, what they will get out of this, and what they will not definitely get out of this, and what this is not. And this is coming back again to the modalities. So where you will not expect from me a consultancy, you will not expect from me just facilitation, you will expect from me that I will ask questions and you will search for answers. This is not like I'm here in the coach in the room and I will give you some magic pill. It's not like this. So whenever the team is ready to start a coaching, they commit to invest their time, their efforts, and their work towards their goal. And the second thing, what is the common goal? Yes, this is basically the first part, which starting even before you're entering the room and start to coach the team. This is the contracting. And the contracting, meaning you clarify the borders and the goal for the whole communication between the sponsors, team members, team leads, and anyone who is involved or have some influence in this team. Mm-hmm. This is already a thing which is maybe a bit different to agile coaching, because usually it's like, yeah, you're an agile coach, you're a specialist, so could you please fix this team? And just even by Bernard fixing this team, you assume from the beginning that something is wrong.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So answering to your question, how I will highlight to the team that I'm not the team, I will just ask them how it is with the shared goal. Do you really understand why you're here? And this is not just because you would like to have money on your account at the end of the month. So really why you're here. How do you feel with the conflict or with confrontation situation here? And how comfortable are you receiving or providing the feedback?
So you would literally, you would literally go with them in a room, basically start a first session, which might be about the agreement or the coaching contract, or you might have a contract before, but so in general, now exploring or navigating through their current reality and then elaborating what is actually at their plate, and from there derive potential objectives, goals, and then possible interventions, right?
Thank you, Mike. And yeah, exactly. The coaching, this is about defining the point A and defining the point B, but really like pretty much exactly, and defining the gap. And then asking, okay, how you would like to close this gap? And you will really have to investigate what is possible to be done in here. But you're not here to close this gap.
The interesting thing here, and I think we exchanged a little bit beforehand, before we jumped into this conversation, obviously, or actually it's not obvious, for some people it might not be obvious, coaching a team is not just like coaching a multiplicity of individuals. Like, here's 5 people, let's assume 5 people I went into within the room, and they're team members. It's not about just saying more or less the 5 people here I coach just as if I would coach them individually. Where do you see the difference between then whom I'm coaching, who's my client, between the individual and the collaborative perspective?
This is a good question, and the answer is again contracting. What is the goal? Because if you're coaching 5 individuals in the team, they all might have a different goal, and they all might have even a different understanding of the same goal. Whenever you're coaching a team, you have a shared understanding of the goal, and you have a shared goal for the team. So this is most probably the difference. And another thing, whenever you coach the individual, you're also trying to work not only with the problem, but like with the whole spectrum, what is behind the problem. So sorry, I just tried to adjust a bit light. I see that this is not good. So basically, what does it mean? When I'm coaching the person, I also touch a bit what does it look like, how it will affect your colleague, how it will affect your team, how it will affect your family, how it will affect all the systems that you're part of, basically. The same should be done with the team. So in the team, we have much more because we have 5 individuals. That means that we have 5 times 2 interaction between each team member. We need to observe what is told and what is not told in the room. So meaning I need to observe not only the person who is speaking, but I need to observe how each participant is reacting on this. Who is agreeing, who is disagreeing, who is rolling the eyes, what is happening, what is the energy tension in the room. And this is much more complicated than just one individual, because just one individual is already complex enough.
Yeah. The background, the coaching background I'm coming from, which is about systems, basically really calls the team a system and just says you're coaching the team as a system. And every member of the team is simply a voice of the system, which is basically just every voice is welcome, right? If there is some, I don't know, ignorance or annoyance or proudness or anything, whatever people say is a voice of the system, which is a little bit different than speaking in your own, seat. It's more like I'm speaking as a representative of the team. And so is this something like we were referring to ICF, the idea of team coaching in ICF would feel comfortable with, or just say, yeah, that makes a little bit of this distinction between individual versus collective?
Look, when ICF is talking about the team coaching competencies, this is just an add-on to the core competencies. So meaning the competencies by itself, whenever I'm coaching the individual or teams, are the same. But what is coming into focus, that I'm coaching the team as the one individual, and probably if referring or reformulating in your systemic coaching, yes, as the one system in front of me. So this is basically the same. And what is ICF is also talking about this, I'm coaching the team in their context. So meaning I try to understand what is the environment, what is their circumstances, what is their point A. And it's not just about I'm coming and say like, yeah, please change this and this and this. And like, no, I respect, like I respect the perception of the world of each individual. The same, I respect the perception of team, how the team is being in this company organization, and what are the boundaries in organizations, and what is the context.
Right. Now we'll come to the ICF core competencies or team competencies in a second. Before, I'd be curious about the agreements, because we touched them slightly, but what kind of agreements would you think about you would make with a team before actually starting the coaching?
Thank you. There are few types of agreement. So the one is the coaching agreement, like for the whole lifelong period of the coaching. So this would be about the common goal. So in general, what we would like to achieve. And here we need also to be, I would say, not careful, but we need to be mindful that during the investigation, this goal could be changed, and this is completely okay. Because when we realize and when we investigate in the point A and point B, we could realize, okay, so we would like to go not this direction, but completely different direction.
Yeah. Emergent goals, if you like.
Yes. But the second thing, what is coming outside just the goal, this is about the way how we communicate. So how are we dealing with the confidentiality? How are we dealing with maybe different conflict of interest between the sponsor, between the team lead, between the team? How do we finish our contract? Meaning, when the team coach is out, how the team is coaching themselves, or what is the strengths split between the team lead and sponsor and the team coach. So where are my borders? Where are the borders of the team? How much team could decide for themselves in which area? Because this all the input parameters that you need to clarify before. How do you manage the conflicts? What do you do if there will be some situation which is not told by the contract? And this is always coming hand to hand to the partnership. And in the partnership, this is not like, yeah, I tell you what I want because I'm paying you money. And this is not, I'm telling you what to do because I'm an expert. This is about listening to each other and really profiting from each other.
Yeah.
So the partnership, this is the second part, or the basis which is coming to the contracting.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing is you're also referring to difficult conversations, right, on the team, because I mean, even a one-on-one coaching is not easy, because otherwise you wouldn't need a coaching. It's not about saying, oh, I just needed someone to confirm what I already know. It's more about, I want to overcome something. Now I'm together with my teammates and we want to overcome something. And it could be anything, right? It could be something complicated. It could be even conflict. And obviously what I hear is we should also become conscious before we even start, become conscious. How do we want to be together when the going gets tough? Because let's assume first coaching session, maybe first coaching session might be easy, but second coaching session, suddenly I start, hey, Nadezda, I don't really agree what you're saying here about our team or how you approach it. And suddenly we get into this one-on-one, right? And actually we just came from, hey, one versus team, and you're acting as part of the team, which is perfectly all right. You're just showing there's tension on the team. How do we handle it? So hopefully we'll have agreements about this, right?
Here a lot of pieces coming together. So first I will answer to the agreements part, and then please remind me to come to others. Agreements, yeah, wonderful thing what we are doing in the agile coaching, the team agreement. What are we used to write in the team agreement? The times of the meetings where we'd like to go, the place for documenting these things, the definition of done. It's a wonderful thing, and it should be. But what should really agreement be about? What do I need to trust and respect? And this is coming in some not popular thing like values, because this is usually the things which business don't want to invest time in. And this is basically what is matters, because if we know what is our value behind, and we say that the value is respect, this is something to what we could refer in the conflict situations. Like, yeah, we agreed to respect each other. So how this conversation will look like if we would like to respect each other? How this conversation will look like if we would like to be transparent to each other? And in the third way, how this conversation will look like if it will not be me against you, but what is the problem and how me and you acting against the problem. And I think here the team coach or the simple coach is especially useful just to clarify, just to separate the problem from the person. And then developing this topic a bit, this is also might be in a difference between the agile coaching and the team coaching, because what I used to hear sometimes in opinion that our task as agile coach is to shorten the storming period as much as possible in order to come to the norming and delivering, yes, and performing. No.
Yeah,
the
totally
yeah.
agree.
So there's
First of
this.
all, yeah, sorry, go ahead, please.
So the storming, this is a phase where basically it's starting with a conflict. A conflict is wonderful because it has a lot of energy, and conflict, this is about the borders. And this is really where you could clarify how you would like to be as a team and what is your value behind. And how you could turn this energy, because the energy is coming from your standing for something which is really important for you. So what is this common important, and what is making our team as a team, and how we could see what is trying to emerge here in this situation.
Now, am I hearing right? You are also like me, and this is a little bit of a hypothesis, not a big believer in this linear approach of the Tuckman model. I mean, to be honest, I mean, it's super great, right? It's so easy to tell, it's so easy to look at, and it would be so easy to understand the world, right? First this, then this, and if something happens, back one step and another step forward. So it's like a board game. You could create a board game out of it. I'm not sure if I heard it right, but my stance would be, if that's similar, I don't believe in this in terms of, yeah, norming. We basically need to, I mean, around the forming and norming, we always need this somehow and be conscious about our norms. And we need some even in the beginning. And storming is something we will always have present. And what I heard from you, storming is actually not bad. It's giving us, as long as it's not toxic. So let's define between, distinguish between toxic and non-toxic. As long as it's a little bit more heated, it doesn't mean that's bad. It's giving us information, and we can deal with that, right? And God knows, please don't think now we are in performing and that's it. Just putting it out here. I'm not sure what you think.
I would say so. It's not like I do not believe in the Tuckman model. I respect the Tuckman model, but the thing which you highlighted with linearity, yeah, I'm basically not believe, because again, if you're just talking from the systemic view, and now I'm talking just from the systemic view, you always have some new element in the system. And whenever you have a new element and the element is big enough to affect the system, you will have again all these phases. We have a new information. We're starting the new sprint with the new information, with the new feedback. Of course, there will be again all these phases. And as you already mentioned, it's also interesting just to understand what would be my best in each phase. In the forming, this is beautiful to get know, to form a team, to have a team building, to agree on some general things, but you will prove these general things through the storming, and you will improve these things through the norming. And then each time you will go through the cycle, you will do it better because you will know what you could learn from this.
Right.
So I wouldn't like we have sprints, we will also have this kind of cycles in the team, and this is perfectly fine.
So we obviously have a little bit of a different view, and I would love to add, and I need to add this maybe after having it researched again here to the post or to the conversation. I heard from David Clutterbuck, the person you referred to before, who's a very honored researcher and coach since decades out there in the field. I think he is one of the persons with the broadest and deepest available background. That number one, so he was also very skeptic about the Tuckman model in this talk. Number one, he said Tuckman didn't have, he literally didn't have data points for his research. So it was just a few known faces. It was not a real research. It was just more of a hypothesis than a real theory. Great, we're all following it. And number two, the context was totally different. It was not a team. It was a group of people in therapy. So people who were basically in their psychotherapy, and that's not a team, hopefully, which were experiencing certain circumstances. And I find it quite interesting that we just took this reading and copying and pasting it around. But there are obviously different perspectives on it. But let's get back to the team agreements. And so obviously there is a sort of a professional stance, how to set up properly set the stage for working with a whole team. And this is really about all the voices. It's about the whole agreement. And that's it, right? But the agreement needs to come back again, right? It's not just, I mean, it's easy to write it in the beginning, but usually it will become more interesting after session 1, 2, 3, 4, right?
Look, the whole thing of the coaching, this is not about setting something in stone. You're doing everything for the purpose, and you have this, you basically always put in this question in the room, what is happening now? So either we are writing an agreement, or this discussion, or this question, or this tension, how does it serve in us the goal that we declared in the beginning? And if this not serving this goal, did the goal changed? And then what we're gonna do about this, or do we need to come back, and then to which point? This is only about this.
Well, only sounds beautiful, because that sounds like a co-creative approach, right? To grow together, or let's say dance together with a team as a coach. Now, we mentioned ICF, and we mentioned in the beginning, you actually serve on the board of ICF Chapter Austria, and I think you're responsible for creating the new stuff, so actually innovating and bringing new topics to the agenda, right? Or am I wrong?
I'm for professional development.
Professional development. All right, that's even better. So, because ICF has something to offer, we mentioned it in the beginning. I think it's pretty new, or at least freshly published a few months ago, the team coaching competencies, which is, again, a little bit more than individual coaching. ICF, I think, is a lot known in the field for individual coaching, but team coaching competencies. Tell us a little bit about it so we can get an idea. What is it? What does it contain? What does it talk about? And let's see what comes out of that. I might put a pointer here, but there's tons of information on their website.
Yeah, so basically they came up with these competences. They published this in the beginning of this year. And there was a group, I think, working group that were working for more than 2 years, inviting the subject matter experts, inviting the coaches who already work in the team coaches, to see, like, okay, how can I use the best out of the individual coaching to the team coaching, and what is the difference? And the very first difference is just about the incredible complexity. And this is also coming back then to the point, can I be a team coach without being an individual coach? Probably yes, so I don't know, but it's complex. So if you could not manage to coach one person, how you could immediately start with the team? And this maybe was also something which was an eye-opening for me, because whenever you're doing a Scrum Master course, and then I say, okay, look, this is the team, try to coach them, good luck. And coming back to the competencies, this is just how to say, coaching. This is our mission, why we are doing this. And why we are doing this, because we are in partnership with our client, helping them to find their inner strengths and their competencies to achieve what they would like to achieve. The competence itself, this is what we are doing. And there also existing markers, which is just more or less an advice how we are doing this. And talking about the competencies, so first thing what we are starting with, this is the ethics. So we are following our ethic code. And in the ethic code, this is about the conflict of interest. This is about modality, so how we are defining coaching, and the client is clear about what the coaching is and what expect and not expect about, and all the other beautiful things. So this is about setting the frame. And this is something which, for example, also the Agile Institute, I think, with Lisa Atkins, is now thinking about, to introduce an ethical code for Agile coaches, yes? So at least I saw the working document. The second thing, this is about the coaching mindset, representing a coaching mindset. And this is basically about the continuous growth and development. So that's why I like the professional development, because as a coach, I'm obliged to continuously work on myself. So meaning I have the whole group of support. I have the supervisors who is helping me identify why I'm feeling in this or that way in the session. I have a mentor coaches who is telling me how good I am with ICF competencies. So how good I'm following this principle of the coaching that I have been choosing. And the third thing, this is about consciously growth as a coach, meaning in each point I'm working on myself. I'm receiving my coaching hours, and I'm trying in each point separate myself from the client. So coming back, for example, to the conflict situation, I could not be a good team coach for the conflicts if I'm not okay with the conflicts. So if there is something triggering in me, then I'm trying to be in my story whenever I need to be in the team's story. So whenever I'm feeling involved, probably I'm not good in the team coach role anymore. So the third thing, the third competence is about the creating and maintaining agreements. And this is exactly about the transparency and clarity. What would be the goal? How you will identify that you reach the goal? Because this is also when you come into the agile environment and say, could you please just do a high-performing team? Well, great. What does it mean, the high-performing team?
Yeah.
What does it mean for you?
What does it mean?
What does it mean? How you will identify that they're now high-performing?
Is this even a useful term? I mean, it's really a term. It's quite interesting. We're hearing it obviously very often. The agile community, some especially, throw it around high-performance teams, and companies, of course, would love that. If I'm a CEO of a large company, I would only love to see high-performance teams. But actually, I mean, sorry. First of all, high-performance sounds like machines, and one. I mean, this sort of engineering thinking. Is there something to that, or what do you think about high performance?
Again, ask the teams, and I mean high performance. It means that you're always on the edge. How long you could be always on the edge, and this is not the purpose. I think whenever you would like to be in the team, you would like to be to receive a joy. You would like to be sustainable. You would like to be capable. You would like to be capable on the long term. So you could not run them marathon in the sprints. I'm sorry, this is not working. And the second thing, whenever we are talking about the high performance, this is not giving 150% in each sprint. This is about being sustainable, but this is my view. And coming back to here, when someone will come with the topic, could you please create a high performance team? This is again something to clarify with the team, with the sponsors, with all involved parties in this contract. This is the same, like I would say, Mike, I would like to have a beautiful house. For me, beautiful house could be one thing. For you, it could be completely opposite thing.
Yeah. It's quite interesting when I hear this. I would really think high performance. I mean, I can imagine, for example, for me or for a team with me, we never think about that makes sense. I mean, I've never worked on a team where anybody said, hey, high performance, that would be super, like a Formula One car. It would be rather more like, what's our purpose thing? Why are we here? What are we trying to achieve? Nobody would say high performance. Some people might say, we want to have fun, we want to succeed with this and that, we want to become better at what we're currently doing. We might want to shine somewhere with our product, like we want to be number one on the market in this and that domain because we love this field of working, like whatever it is. But probably high performance could be quite misleading. And I think it would be super easy to just throw it away. I mean, to be honest. But let's ask the team, right? I think this is this strong belief to say, get rid of your biases. And
Exactly. You don't bring yourself as the expert to there. You're there to learn from the team. And this is the statement about the coaching. I'm not an expert in your life. I'm not an expert in what does it mean to you. And I'm not allowed to bring my view, and I'm not allowed to bring my biases with me. I could share. So like for me, it sounds like you, but I'm doing with the purpose. And my purpose is to create a clarity for you.
Right.
This is about this stand.
I think there is much more to say about the team coaching competencies, obviously. We will finish our conversation today a little bit around it in order to let people learn how would I go for expanding my team coaching skills. But going deeper on them might be something for a later conversation. Maybe something also fancy where we might think about maybe getting some people on board or some people who are interested in, exploring certain situations which are interesting for team coaching. But for the moment, you mentioned the term a couple of times. It says here coaching for agility. We consciously don't mention agile coaching, but you mentioned it a couple of times. We don't we didn't do so far. But obviously there is something to it, and that's what I would love to explore with you in the remaining time today, because what we all heard before would probably shine a new light on the typical agile coaching scenario. And I'm just giving one example. You mentioned Scrum, a Scrum team, a couple of times. So here's a Scrum team, and let's assume they are not yet a Scrum team. I mean, if we really, and you mentioned ethics, right? Wouldn't an ethical team coaching approach require that the team decides if and what they want to do, and not somebody coming to them and saying, all right, you can do Kanban or Scrum, or otherwise you die?
Exactly, Mike. This is the point. And I will even start with what is agility for you. So what you would like to achieve as a team, what does it mean? First, what does it mean, the team for you?
Same like high performance,
what you would like to achieve as a team, and then let's explore what other options on the table. And then how this option will bring you towards this. And it could be that the Scrum, Kanban, or any other agile framework is just not proper for them, and completely fine. And that's again about the coaching mindset. I'm not coming in the room with a ready solution for them.
Right. Now, of course, this is easy to talk about. What's your experience with that? Because you're also a practitioner. You're not just talking theoretically from the position of ICF. You're working with Scrum and all these methods yourself with teams. Did you already go for this major difference to say, I try to get the method and whatever practice, first of all, out of the room and have a conversation about, what about you, team? What's your experience with that in a corporate setting even?
I tried this within the 5 weeks project, and it was about just like this. Yeah, they have been choosing the method, but where we started, this is exactly about what is important for us to know, for the human being to work together. And the secondary, yeah, you know now the framework of the Scrum, but what do you want to get out of this? So how does it look like? And the best it was not the team coaching, but it was the team coaching skills in each and every meeting about what is the purpose here. So why are we sitting here? For what we would like to invest this time and energy in, with what we would like to walk out. And okay, so how then this meeting should be in order to achieve this goal? And coming several times again in the conversation during this meeting, how we are now in response to this goal. How what is happening now is serving this goal. And if it is not happening, if it is not serving, it is fine. How having this and this attribute of the user story is helping us to bring a clarity what to do, to decide if it is fit for us or not, how we could commit or not. It's about this. And if this is not serving anyone, why we need to have it.
Mm-hmm. So this would change the picture quite a lot, right? I mean, the typical, I'm picking Scrum now because most people know it. There are many other frameworks, many other approaches, but you literally would never start with Scrum. You literally would never start even with training. You might even say, and I have to admit, I'm a Scrum trainer, but we don't need a Scrum trainer here, right? We just, for example, the easiest way to read Scrum, I learned from Alistair Coburn. Obviously, most people might know him. He's one of the co-authors of the Agile Manifesto. He compiled Scrum into 3 or 4 sentences. It's just it. You don't need more. And if you really need more, you can go for the 1-pager or for the 10-pager. But then, that's how I understand you, the team would just pull this off. They can usually read. That's what most teams can. And gratefully, these documents are available in multiple languages. And from reading, they would basically start setting up their own perspective on this framework, right? And just say, all right, I mean, maybe we pull in a trainer. Let's say maybe, but maybe it's not our first step. Let's first of all see how this fits for us.
Look, what is happening here, the team needs to know what they want to achieve and why they want to achieve this. And this is where we're starting from. So if you know that I would like to buy a bicycle because I would like to spend time out on the weekend and I don't want to go there with the car, but rather with the bicycle, you will start to investigate what is important for you to have about this bicycle. Should it be light? Should it be, which kind of bicycle should it be? And then you will start to decide for yourself, basically. And then you will come to the specialized shop and you will buy what you want. And it could be that you will talk there with the consultant and he will change your view, but this is basically how it should happen with the teams, I think.
Exactly.
Whenever there is someone from above decides that now this is the way where it should be, you could count with some resistance, and this is fine. This is completely fine.
Yeah, but this would, from what I'm hearing from you, what you're basically trying to tell me, that would be a team which first of all thinks about, hey, it would be useful to think about more value to some of the people we deliver to or work for or whatever you call it. Might be markets, might be internal customers. Second, to learn faster from what they get. Second, to collaborate better. And well, maybe it's one, second, third, fourth, doesn't matter. Also learn better from ourselves, what we're doing, how we're doing, and so on and so forth. And if that fits any framework, let's try it, right? It's this typical inspect and adapt or whatever it is, but goal first, right?
I'm sorry, but I even don't like to try to fit this in the framework. I would rather put this trying to fit the framework for us. It's the same like you're getting the knowledge from the book, but you could put this in your experience.
Yeah. No. I think we're on the same track. I would say, hey, we might even say you don't need to think about Scrum or any of those exist. And by the way, they are super simple. People just make it too complicated. Most of what they make it complicated about is even not part of this stuff. So we could even say, yeah, what would it be like if we collaborate better? And somebody might say, oh, I saw recently somebody putting sticky notes somewhere. And that could be like, hey, if we use sticky notes, everybody of us could see something anybody else is working on, and maybe that solves our issue, right? That could be it. Solved by sticky note, but not coming from the outside, but from the inside.
Look, how it's about just meeting every day for coffee and discuss what we're going to do today to synchronize.
Right. Yeah.
But only one maybe more puzzle that I would like to add here. It's legitimate to have a knowledge. So it's not like I'm trying to find all the answers myself. It's okay if I understand that, yeah, I'm missing some knowledge. So I know why I'm doing this. I know what for I'm doing this. And then I realize, yeah, I don't have this skill. I don't know the C+ language. Yes, and I will come to the training and I will get this knowledge.
Yeah. And you might, as a coach, always offer, right? Would it be okay for you guys? Here's something I could offer. I mean, are you interested in? And I'm just referring, putting it on the table. If they pick it up, great. If they don't pick it up, I wouldn't insist on and say, yeah, but actually your manager told me to tell you. So sorry, no, that's not it, right?
No. So the team coach, I mean, the individual coach, particularly, but exactly the team coach, he is working in much more modalities. He might offer something for the team building. He might enter in the consultancy role, but again, he has a mindset why I'm doing now and what does it bring in now to the team and the team's responsibility and team's ownership of the solution. And this is about this. Yeah, I might tell my opinion, but I'm telling my opinion without having I'm right. This is just an option.
Yeah. The stances, right, we talked about last time, which I'm also a little bit careful about because I sometimes think it's easy to talk about. You can be like this, it be like that, but sometimes in reality, it might be another topic. Now we're coming to the basically closure of today's session. And again, we want to dive deeper into practical application of team coaching. So at least summit-wise. So we'll see, maybe we get 2 or 3 colleagues on board whom we know, or who might be interested to join. But for the final bit today, where could people learn or let's say hone their skills on team coaching? So where could they go? Where should they look into? What could they do as a first step or second step?
First step is going to the ICF website and looking into the team coaching competencies and just to think about what does it mean for you. When you're reading this text, you already could have some insight out of this. And again, without judgment, just try to understand what could be the different point of view in here. Coming further, checking out the coaching organization and team coaching communities in there. And could be already quite a lot of webinars and stuff. And if you would like to be in a team coach, then yeah, I could recommend the training that I have been part of. This is the Team Coaching Global Alliance. This is actually from the creator of the Team Coaching Competencies, but
Okay.
another institution which is not ICF, but you already mentioned the David Clutterbuck and Peter Hofkin. So they offering also the team coaching. So this is a bit different approach. This is the team as the system, as you already mentioned, but it's also a wonderful resource.
Yeah. So obviously, so here are two examples, and there are, first of all, is probably just get out there, try to familiarize yourself. And again, you mentioned some resources there. We might find a few links we might add here. But for today, Nadia, it was a pleasure talking to you, and hopefully everybody watching this video finds it useful. If you have any questions, please feel free to get in contact with us. Specifically, Nadia would be probably your first go-to person when it comes to clarifying any question about team coaching, how to go for this, how to educate yourself, or how to maybe find or decide upon a team coach, what to look after when you have the possibility to decide for.
And especially if you disagree with something, please come to me. I'm loving discussing the things, and I think in each discussion there is coming in some new truth, and this is perfectly fine.
Awesome. Nadia, thank you very much, and see you next time.
Hi, thank you, Mike. It was a pleasure.